Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continue reading from
Yeah,
Srimad
I
Bhagavatam.
can read in the beginning and then later Ratnaji can read.
Okay, so we are Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14, Text 27. You'll read the Sanskrit also.
Okay, okay. I'll try. अधव्नि अमुषिमम् इमे उपसर्ग तथा सुख दुख राग द्वेष sorry
Sorry. Advani Amushmin Ima Upasargas Tatha Sukha Dukha Raga.
द्वेष भय अभिमान प्रमाद उन्माद शोक मोह लोभा
द्वेष भयाभिमान प्रमादो माद शोक मोह लोभ
मात्सर्य ईर्षा अभिमान श्रुत पिपासा आदि व्याधि जन्म जरा
मात्सर्येष्वाय मानशुद्ध विपासादि व्याधि जन्म जरा
मरण आदयः
मरण आदय.
Translation. In this materialistic life, there are many difficulties, as I have just mentioned, and all of these are insurmountable. In addition, there are difficulties arising from so called happiness, distress, attachment, hate, fear, false prestige, illusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, enmity, insult, hunger, thirst, turbulation, disease, birth, old age, and death. All these combine together to give the materialistic conditioned soul nothing but misery. Purport Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The conditioned soul has to accept all these conditions simply to enjoy sense gratification in this world. Although people declare themselves great scientists, economists, philosophers, politicians, and sociologists, they are actually nothing but rascals. Therefore, they have been described as mudhas and nardhamas in Bhagavad Gita 7.15. न मां दृष्टकितीनु मूढा प्रपन्दते नराधमा मायया प्रहत्य ज्ञाना आसुरं भावमाश्रितः. These miscreants, who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheist nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. I should read, right? Not stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Due to their foolishness, all these materialistics are described in Bhagavad Gita's as Naradhamas. They have attained the human form in order to get released from the material bondage. But instead of doing so, they become further embarrassed amid the miserable material conditions. Therefore, they are Naradamas, the lowest of men. One may ask whether scientists, philosophers, economists, and mathematicians are also Naradham, the lowest of men, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead replies that they are because they have no actual knowledge. They are simply proud of their false prestige and position. Actually, they do not know how to get relief from the material condition and renovate their spiritual life of transcendental bliss and knowledge. Consequently, they waste time and energy in the search for so called happiness. These are the qualifications of the demon. In Bhagavad Gita, it says that when one has all these demonic qualities, he becomes a mudha. Due to this, he envies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, birth after birth, he is born into a demoniac family and he transmigrates from one demoniac body to another. Thus, he forgets his relationship with Krishna and remains a Naradhama in an abominable condition life after life.
So here Sukadeva Goswami has been telling to Parikshit Maharaj about the traveler, the entities, the traveler in the forest, this material world. And there are so many tribulations of being here. So he's saying some of these difficulties are coming from happiness, distress, attachment. Now, one may feel why happiness is going to be a difficulty. No. But sometimes happiness also, we get so attached to happiness, we don't want to let it go. So it may create a fear also, kind of, that, oh, I don't want the situation to change. So happiness, distress, attachment, hate, fear, false prestige, illusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, enmity, insult, hunger, thirst, tribulation, disease, birth, old age, and death. So each of us is going through these things. We are experiencing these different things. And Prabhupada here is pointing out, because at that time, before Prabhupada's time, the scientists were given a lot of respect, like they were kind of ruling the society, whatever the scientists say, that's what it is. But then they were taking the society away from God consciousness, trying to say that matter is the cause of this material world and not God. At least some scientists, we can say that. So that's what Prabhupada is saying, that they got this life, this human life, to get out of this birth and death. But instead of doing that, they are using it for other personal agenda, and in this way getting more entangled in this material world and transmigrating from one body to another. Envy of Krishna. Because of envy of God, we say, oh, that God does not exist, or, everyone is God. That's our envy of God. And then, because one wants to forget God, then he's put in those situations and those bodies in which it's easier to forget God. Abominable condition of life. Like, body of an animal or in the hellish planets. It's very difficult to remember God in those positions. So if one does not want to remember God, then Krishna puts them in such a situation, in such a body, which is easier for them to forget, because after all, Krishna, he is so kind that he fulfills our desires. Whatever is our desire, he fulfills that. Is that okay?
Yes. And they also mention this that there are the materialistic, due to their foolishness, they are called Naradhams. So they are the
Mhm.
materialistic people, right? Who are not um, surrendering to Krishna, who don't.
Yeah, anyone. The lowest, because really people don't want to know God.
Hmm.
So it could be coming from any section, basically, but
Okay.
simply not interested to understand about God.
Okay. Okay. क्यापि देव मायया स्त्रिया भुजलता उप उपगूढ़ प्रसन्कन विवेका.
Api deva mayaya striya bhujalato pagoda prakashana viveka.
विज्ञान यत विहार ग्रह आरंभ आकुल हृदय तत् आश्रय अवसक्त.
Vijnana yad
Vyarambhakula hidayastha
You, if you're okay, you both are not well. I can just finish it. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
सुतयुस्त कल्लत्र भाषिता अवलोक विचेष्टिता उपहत हृदय आत्मनाम अजीता आत्मा अपारे अंधे तमसी प्रणिशोति. Translation. Sometimes the conditioned soul is attracted by illusion, personified his wife or girlfriend, and becomes eager to be embraced by a woman. Thus, he loses his intelligence as well as knowledge of life's goal. At that time, no longer attempting spiritual cultivation, he becomes overly attracted to his wife or girlfriend and tries to provide her with a suitable apartment. Again, he becomes very busy under the shelter of that home and is captivated by the talks, glance, and activities of his wife and children. In this way, he loses his Krishna consciousness and throws himself in the dense darkness of the material existence. Purport. When the conditioned soul is embraced by his beloved wife, he forgets everything about Krishna consciousness. The more he becomes attracted to his wife, the more he becomes implicated in the family life. One Bengali poet, Bamkin Chandra, says that to the eyes of the lover, the beloved is always very beautiful, even though ugly. This attraction is called Dev Maya. The attraction between men and women is the cause of the bondage for both. Actually, both belong to the Para Prakriti, the superior energy of the Lord, but both are actually Prakriti, female. However, because both want to enjoy one another, they are sometimes described as Purusha, male. Actually, neither is Purusha, but both can be superficially described as Purusha. As soon as men and women are united, they become attached to home, hearth, land, friendship, and money. In this way, they are both entrapped in the material existence. The word Bhujlata Upagudha meaning being embraced by the beautiful arms, which are compared to creepers, describe the way the conditioned soul is bound within this material world. The product of sex life, sons and daughters certainly follow. This is the way of material existence.
The Sukadeva Goswami is continuing to speak that the traveler, the soul, how he gets so engrossed in this material world. Because we are neither man nor woman, we are spirit souls. We each have spiritual identity. But here, in this material world, we are some of us are in the body of a man, some in the body of a woman. Actually, we are all Prakriti. We belong to Krishna. We are the nature. We are his energy, his marginal energy. But we are trying to enjoy. The man is trying to enjoy the woman is trying to enjoy the man. We may say, oh, okay, the man gets attached by the woman, but the woman also gets attached to the man. And then we forget that we are spirit souls. So what is saying is overly attachment here we can see, because attachment is natural. We cannot artificially renounce. If one is in family life, cannot say artificially, oh no, there is no attachment. No, it's bound to happen. But being overly attached, that's where the problem comes. Like even in the story of Bharat Maharaj, he became overly attached to the deer. And then when we become overly attached, we forget Krishna consciousness and we think that this is all that there is. So this is the way of material existence. Then of course the man and woman, they get attached to each other. Then children come getting attached to children, home, and like that it keeps on expanding. And then we forget that, oh, we have to give it up one day, that this is not us, because it's very alluring. This is how Maya keeps us here. We cannot artificially say, no, 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 okay, I'm not attached. Artificial renunciation is not going to do anything. With Sukadev Goswami is describing to us how the soul gets attached and stays here in this material world.
कदाचितीश्वरस्य भगवतो विष्णुचक्रात् परमाणु आदि द्विपरार्थ उपवर्गकाल उपलक्षणात् परिवर्ततेन व्यसारहं सहरत आब्रह्मोत्तरस्तंभ आदीनां भूतानाम् अनिमिषितां वित्रस्त हृदय तम एव ईश्वरं कालचक्र निज आयुधम साक्षात् भगवन्तं यज्ञपुरुषम् अनारितय पाखंड देवता कंक गृद बक वट प्रायः आर्य समय परिद्वैता संकेतयेन अभिदत्ते. Translation. The personal weapon used by Lord Krishna, the disc, is called Hari Chakra, the disc of Hari. This chakra is the wheel of time. It expands from the beginning of the atom up to the time of Brahma's death, and it controls all activities. It is always revolving and spending the lives of the living entities, from Lord Brahma down to an insignificant blade of grass. Thus, one changes from infancy to childhood to youth and maturity, and thus one approaches the end of life. It is impossible to check this wheel of time. This wheel is very exacting, executing, because it is the personal weapon of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes the conditioned soul, fearing the approach of death, wants to worship someone who can save him from imminent danger. Yet he does not care for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose weapon is the indefatigable time factor. The conditioned soul instant takes shelter of a man-made God described in authorized scriptures.
Unauthorized.
Sorry, in unauthorized scriptures. Such gods are like buzzards, vulture, herons, and crows. Vedic scriptures do not refer to them. Imminent death is like the attack of a lion, and neither vultures, buzzards, crows, nor herons can save one from such an attack. One who takes shelter of unauthorized man made gods cannot be saved from the clutches of death. Purport. It is stated herein, Vi Harim Harivinamritam na taranti. No one can save himself from the cruel hands of death without being favored by Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Mamev ye prapadyante maya mem tarantite. Whoever fully surrenders unto Krishna can be saved from the cruel hands of material nature. The conditioned soul, however, sometimes want to take shelter of a demigod, man-made god, pseudo-incarnations, or bogus swami or yogi. All these cheaters claim to follow religious principles, and all this has become very popular in this age of Kali. There are many pasandis who, without referring to the Shastras, pose themselves as incarnations, and foolish people follow them. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has left behind him Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Not referring to these authorized scriptures, rascals take shelter of man made scriptures and try to compete with Lord Krishna. This is the greatest difficulty one encounters when trying to promote spiritual consciousness in human society. The Krishna consciousness movement is trying its best to bring people back to Krishna consciousness in its pure form. But the Pashandis and the atheists who are cheaters are so numerous that sometimes we become perplexed and wonder how to push this movement forward. In any case, we cannot accept the unauthorized ways of so called incarnations, gods, cheaters, and bluffers, who are described here as crows, vultures, buzzards, and herons.
Sukadeva Goswami saying, so the soul in this body of a man or a woman continues living, and time, Krishna says, time I am. Time represents Krishna. And time is taking away our life. With each rising and setting of the sun, it is said, for one who's not a devotee of the Lord, his life is coming nearer and nearer to death. For one who's not a devotee. So with time, the body change. But so why is it it's said for one who's not a devotee? But doesn't it mean that the devotee also has to give up the body? Yes, of course, the devotee has to give up the body, but the devotee, then he goes back home. He has a spiritual body, no more birth, old age, disease, and death. No more birth and death anymore. So with this wheel of time, in this body, we have a baby body, then it's child body, then youthful, full of youth, then adult, then comes dwindling, gradually middle age, and then dwindling, becoming old. So sometimes what happens is one may, of course, as one sees that, oh, now my time in this body is lesser, one may get more fearful. And then instead of taking shelter of God, instead of taking shelter of Krishna, one takes shelter of pseudo incarnations, those who are not authorized. They may be popular. Many people may be, uh, sometimes happens that for example, even some entertainer is popular. If someone's or some sports person is popular, then everyone wants to follow them. Oh yeah, yeah, this is a great sports person, or this is a great entertainer. So people want to do that also in the case of God. If somebody popularly, he gets some popular votes and says this is God, but not really God, because only God is God. Nobody can become God. So that's why I said so-called man-made God. And all this is unauthorized. It's not coming from any scripture. So we should be careful of it ourselves and take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of Bhagavad Gita, take shelter of Bhagavatam. That's the only way we can get out of the material world. No false incarnation can help us get out of this material world. No matter how popular or how famous they are, they cannot help us get out of this material world of birth and death. Harim vinam ritim na taranti. Harim vinam ritim na taranti. Harim vinam ritim na taranti. No one can save himself from the cruel hands of death without being favored by Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Devi yasha gunamai mam maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti te. Krishna says that this divine energy of mind. He says this material energy, she's divine. Why? Because she belongs to Krishna. she's made of these three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Krishna is saying it's very difficult to give up this, overcome this material energy. Those who surrender to Krishna can easily cross this material world, because material energy belongs to Krishna. He orders Maya to release the soul, and she listens to him because she is his servant. Anyone have questions or comments?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Like,
Krishna.
yeah, what is being by man-made God? Is it doctor or is it like
Man-made.
unauthorized man?
You see, what happens is sometimes people start believing that actually the person is man, but they start believing he's God, and he may become famous in that way. Man-made God. Yeah, sometimes may happen. So, but that's not, we should not follow that, because only God is God. Nobody can become God. And all whoever is an incarnation, they are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. It's man-made God. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But about the death, even God also cannot save you from the death. Like this is the Shashwat. We all have to be reach to that position, and finally we have to go away from this Mrityu lok. We don't know where we have to go, but like as I understand, like if we go for the spiritual activities and chant Hare Krishna, so maybe our death will be smooth or easy, right?
It may not be smooth and it may not be easy, but we can go back home, can leave this material world of birth and death. So no more birth and death. See, this body, of course, since we are in the body, we have to leave this body, cannot live eternally in this body. But one who is a devotee, his death may not be easy also, but he does not need to take up another material body. He can go to the spiritual world. So no more birth and death. This is how he gets relief from birth and death. Yes?
Okay. So even devotee also suffer, right?
Yeah, because see, when Krishna is saying, I will give you all protection, protection is for the soul. Krishna is speaking about the soul, not the body.
Mm. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it's not the body, but then the mood of the devotee, when the devotee is suffering, is in Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 14. In the Brahma Vimohan Leela, Lord Brahma says, how does the devotee accept suffering? Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. He says that the devotee, when he's suffering, he thinks that, oh, I would have suffered much more because of my karma. But Krishna, he's so kind. He's just giving me a little bit of suffering.
Mm.
And in this way, liberation becomes his rightful claim. He continues remaining a devotee to Krishna. He continues to worship Krishna through all the suffering. And in this way, at the end of life, he goes back to the spiritual world. Liberation becomes his rightful claim. Yeah. So this is what Bhagavatam is saying. And this is how a devotee sees suffering. And how does a devotee see when he's happy, when he's getting some good fortune? He sees, I don't deserve this. But Krishna is encouraging me. He's kind to me. So Krishna is encouraging me. So this is how the devotee sees either happiness or suffering in relation to Krishna. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, like goal is just to liberate from the cycle of death and birth, right?
Yes. And so how can we do that? Krishna is saying, surrender
Yeah.
unto me, and you do that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, I can understand. Okay, thank
Actually,
you.
the goal
Thank you.
of human life, I'm sorry?
Yes, yes.
Yes, so actually, the goal of human life is to revive our relationship with God. Each of us have a loving relationship with God, with Krishna. Prema Pamartho Mahan. And the goal of human life, the Pancha Purushartha, is to revive this love that we have for God. Revive this love. And of course, when one loves God, one does not need to come back to the material world, one goes to the spiritual world. Yes? Automatic liberation. Okay, Neha said she cannot read. So,
Sorry, Shilpa ji, I have to leave.
yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll continue. Rapakhandibir Atma Vanchites Uruvanchito Brahmakulam Samavasam Stesham Shilam Upa Nayanadi Shrota Smarta Karmanushthanena Bhagavato Yagya Purusha Sasyaradhanam Evatat Arochayan Shudra Kulam Bhajate Nigamachare Shuddhito Yasya Mithuni Bhava Kutumba Bharanam Yathavana Rajate He. Would anyone like to read the English?
Okay. Translation. The Shuddha Swamis, yogis, incarnations who do not believe in the Supreme Personality of Godhead are known as Pasandis. They themselves are fallen and cheated because they do not know the real path of spiritual advancement. And whoever goes to them is certainly cheated in his turn. When one is thus cheated, he sometimes takes shelter of the real followers of Vedic principles, Brahmanas, or those in Krishna consciousness, who teach everyone how to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to the Vedic rituals. However, being unable to stick to these principles, these rascals again fall down and take shelter among Sudras, who are very expert in making arrangements for sex indulgence. Sex is very prominent among animals, like monkeys and such people who are enlivened by sex may be called descendants of monkeys. But by fulfilling the process of evolution from the aquatics to the animal platform, a living entity eventually reaches the human form. The three modes of material nature are always working in the evolutionary process. Those who come to the human form through the quality of Shattva Guna were cows in their last animal incarnation. Those who come to the human form through the quality of Rajoguna were lions in their last animal incarnation. And those who come to the human form through the quality of Tamoguna were monkeys in their last animal incarnation. In this age, those who come through the monkey species are considered by modern anthropologists like Darwin to be descendants of monkeys. We receive information herein that those who are simply interested in sex are actually no better than monkeys. Monkeys are very expert in sexual enjoyment and sometimes Sex glands are taken from monkeys and placed in human body so that human being can enjoy sex in old age also. In this way, modern civilization has advanced. Many monkeys in India were caught and sent to Europe so that their sex glands could serve as replacements for those of old people. Those who actually descend from the monkeys are interested in expanding their aristocratic families through sex. In the Vedas, there are also certain ceremonies especially meant for sexual improvement and promotion of higher planetary systems, where the demigods are enjoying sex. The demigods are also very much inclined towards sex because that is the basic principle of material enjoyment.
You can just
First of
finish the book.
okay. First of all, the conditioned soul is cheated by so-called swamis, yogis, and incarnations. Sorry, when they approaches them to be relieved of material miseries. When the conditioned soul is not satisfied with them, he comes to devotees and pure brahmanas who try to elevate him for final liberation from material bondage. However, the unscrupulous conditioned soul cannot rigidly follow the principles prohibiting illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Thus, he falls down and takes shelter of people who are like monkeys. In the Krishna consciousness movement, these monkey disciples, being unable to follow the strict regulative principles, sometimes fall down and try to form societies based on sex. This is proof that such people are descendants of monkeys, as confirmed by Darwin. In this verse, it is therefore clearly stated, Yatha Vanara Jate.
So Sukadev Goswami is saying here that, a person, he goes to the so-called incarnation of the Lord. He's going to going to another human being, but the human being is just posing himself as an incarnation. And one is trying to get relief from such a person, but of course, such a person cannot give him any release because he himself is bound up. So he's just pretending to be an incarnation. That's why it's called pseudo. So then, one may then, to actually find peace, come to a devotee. And he may take up the Krishna consciousness for some time, but he's unable to keep up the principles. He's unable to follow the instructions of the devotee. Then again he falls down. He again, here is said, make society. Prabhupada is explaining in the text, in the purport, that there are people who come to Krishna consciousness movement, but they're not able to follow. They follow for some time the prohibitions, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating, and after some time they're unable to follow. Then they form their own society based on sex. And then such people are coming from monkeys. So Prabhupada is explaining that how does a person come to human form of life? Well, what Darwin was saying, that the evolution, that humans are coming from apes. So what actually happens is the soul, is the soul that keeps on going from one species of life to another. So coming to a human form, there are three ways of coming: in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. So those who are coming in the mode of goodness were cows in the previous life. Those who are coming in the mode of passion, they were lions, and those who are coming in the mode of ignorance, they were monkeys. And so the modes, because the modes always act. So it doesn't mean that the human species didn't exist and that the species of monkeys evolved into the species of human. No, but the soul, previously he was in the body of a monkey and then he gets the body of a human being. So monkeys are especially very expert in sex, artificial renunciation. Artificial renunciation. Why? Because monkey will say, I have no nothing, I'm just eating fruits and berries, but he has like hundreds of wives, monkeys. So this is what is Sukadev Goswami is saying. Any questions, comments?
There's something new that I'm hearing, that the sex
Uh,
glands are removed from the
uh,
monkeys.
monkeys.
Maybe.
I heard the Chinese, they take something from the tigers, I think, and monkeys. Yeah. The Chinese in mainland China take
Yeah, they
some
eat monkey's brain also.
brain. Yeah.
Yeah, to be get is more smarter.
Just to
So here,
indulge in sex. Sex, right?
Yeah, gland is like should be replaced, but brain they can eat directly. So it was very famous in China, in some reason, not everywhere. Who want to be very smart, they eat
Monkey brain.
monkey brain. Yes.
Oh God.
I don't understand what like written for demigods, like they are also involved in sex. But is it like I'm not against, but I think this is not correctly written. I don't know. Because demigods, they also have their department and they are doing their jobs as prescribed or like given by Lord Krishna. So they are also maintaining the world with good, uh, yeah, what I can have. I don't have like, maybe you can understand what I'm trying to say.
yeah, it's true what you're saying. They're doing their duty. They're doing, as you
Yes,
said, the job. They're doing their department.
yes,
They are very
yeah.
powerful. They have control. They're great controllers. Yes, yes, it's true
So, yeah.
what you're saying.
So is it okay, like written like this, like demigods are also very much inclined towards sex? So I think
Yes.
this is some irrelevant. I don't know. This it's my opinion.
What Prabhupada is trying to tell us that in the material world, sex pleasure is what's keeping in the material world. We can become demigod also, or higher planetary system also. But because the desire for sex is there, we still continue to remain in the material world.
But
This
Bhagavatam
is
is written by
not,
Vyasa
it's,
Prabhu, right?
hmm? So it
Bhagavatam
is
is
not,
written.
yes, Vyasadev, Sukadev Goswami is speaking.
Hmm.
Yes. So it doesn't mean to say that the demigods are not doing their job or they're not doing the controlling. Yes, they are. They are great personalities. They're very great. They're worthy of our highest respect. Yeah. But see, because this is the reason that people want to go to Swargalok, no? That's the Vedas also saying. The Vedas, there's a big section which is called Karma, which teaches people how to go into heavenly planet. Now, why do people want to go heavenly planet? Because there is more enjoyment there. The women are more beautiful there. The men are more beautiful.
Yeah, this can be. It's logical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Like
this
in
is what
Muslim
is
also.
so because of this, it's being said that even if we go to higher planet, the desire is to go to higher planet. Someone may have that desire to go higher planet, but then that desire is coming again to the sex desire. So Sukadev Goswami, why is he telling us so much? Because he's saying that this is what's keeping us here in the material world. Even if we go to the higher planet, it's still in the material. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Okay.
it is logical. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll stop
Okay.
here for today. Shila Prabhupada ki jai,
Yes.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.